Showtime! The Capital G show starts right now.
What's up YouTube, Capital G here. In this video I'm talking about the budget player who is seemingly caught in an eternal struggle to play the game of Yu-Gi-Oh at a highly competitive level while staying financially responsible. Say what you will about them, but I feel like we've all been one. Having started this game while I was in high school way back when Mythic Rulers was released, I can sympathize with them. So I decided to rank my top 10 picks for the upcoming formats with one condition in mind. Find the 10 best decks where the entire main deck can be built as efficiently as possible for $100 or less. For this list, I decided to use lowest rarities at all times, and I used prices from a combination of TCGplayer.com and eBay. Without further ado, this is the top 10 budget decks for the July 14th, 2014 format, the Yu-Gi-Oh hierarchy. Number 10, Dark World. Say what you will about the deck's consistency, Dark World still has one of the best Game 1 advantages in Yu-Gi-Oh! It's lightning fast, and it probably has the second best boss monster in the game outside of Judgment Dragon. The deck got a significant boost from Soul Charge, as now you're much less reliant on your normal summon to revive Grapha, and if Mythic Rulers and Sylvans have shown us anything, going into rank 8 exceeds, during turns where you Soul Charge, cards like Felgrand and Giant Grinder can still get the job done. Going second is highly preferred in this combo-based deck. I would say that the lowest estimated price that I found was $64. Number 9, Worms featuring Hands and Trap Tricks. So Worms saw their first competitive success in about 2 years this format, and a lot of it is thanks to the other two sub-engines that you're going to be running in the deck. Hands work beautifully because you can't just blindly attack in the face downs thinking that they're Kataros or Yagan, and Mermail gets the deck the extra protection that you need to protect the low attack worm monsters. Couple that with the behemoth that is W Nubella Meteorites, and shit can get real pretty fast. I also feel like this deck isn't going to suffer as much going first as other decks would. You have Trap Tricks Mermail and Worm Yex, which are both +1s that serve completely different purposes. Lowest estimated price, $98. Number 8, Evols. So Evolzers are a perfectly balanced deck when it comes to both offense and defense. Being able to set monsters like Najasho and Westlow in the early game give the deck ability to put walls on the field to slow the game down, while Soroto provides the deck with the much needed offense when you don't have the Xyz out. Evil Singularity has given this deck a huge boost of consistency, and one that I think that it needed. It gives you ways to actually reuse your dead monsters in a pretty practical way. Doka, Soda, and Lagia all look like they're going to be amazing in the upcoming format, especially considering that now you can actually summon Soda, and I think that between Singularity and Soul Charge, you actually have ways of consistently getting these guys out now, although not quite as easily as when Rabbit was at 3, but that's a different story. Lowest estimated price, $57. Number 7, Mythic Rulers. So Soul Charge is still at 3, and the big dragons continue to live. I kind of paused there because I felt like I could have just stopped and went to the next deck. These two things alone pretty much guarantee that this deck is going to be highly competitive and viable, and I think that this deck could have some problems going first because I feel like some of the inherent neg 1s that the deck runs, such as Dragon Shrine, could end up hurting you a lot more if you don't happen to have Soul Charge, which, I mean, it's still at 3 like I said earlier, so that is going to counterbalance that. I do feel like Ophion and Midrash could kind of throw a monkey wrench and create problems for the deck, so you may have to move to multiple skill drains in the deck. Lowest estimated price, $89. Number 6, Infernity. So basically take everything that I said about Dark World and apply it to this deck, except with Infernity, the ceiling for turn 1 is way higher. I've seen this deck routinely take 6 cards in their opening hand and convert that into 11. And that's with multiple copies of the best game simplification traps that we have in the entire game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Soul Charge didn't just completely fix the consistency problems that this deck would often run into, it rejuvenated the entire deck. With that said, I would imagine that a turn 1 mid-rash would basically be like auto-lose against the deck though. Lowest estimated price, $82. Number 5, Geargia. Don't be fooled, Geargia will still be an amazing deck next format, and it will almost certainly simply replace the 2 copies of Geargia gear which it lost with 2 more defensive-based traps such as Dimensional Prison. Geargia armor is still really difficult to deal with turn 1, and it being an incredibly easy to trigger +1, pretty much mitigating the inherent neg 1 that you're going to be starting with. And come on, you still do have one of the best archetype based Xyz in the entire game. Lowest estimated price, $90. Number 4, Evilswarm. So Evilswarm have taken a considerable hit with the release of Fire and Ice Hand. However, it seems with the sudden surge of Sylvans and Mythic Rulers combined with Ophions' ability to lock out artifacts and Shadow Fusions, which will be coming out shortly in the Duelist Advent, I think that it's a fairly effective meta call. Turn 1 Ophion with protection is still going to be a bitch to deal with, and usually if you've got a copy of Infestation Pandemic locked and loaded, Evilswarm basically becomes the best beatdown deck around. It can be a risky one, but it's also going to be one that's going to pay off with near auto win matchups. Lowest estimated price, $98. Number 3, Mermail. So if European Nationals taught us anything, it's that Mermail is still a contender. The deck probably has more optional turn 1 plays than any deck in the game. Genix Undying being a +2 on summon is pretty good, and it also erases any disadvantages of going first in the upcoming format. Mermail is also one of the few decks that can efficiently make Goyo Guardian with ease, considering it runs a searchable level 3 tuner, and you tend to forget how powerful some of the simplest plays in this deck can be, such as summoning Mool and Glacier or making 101 while detaching Dragoons. And lowest estimated price, $96. Number 2, Bujins. Bujins are expectably going to be a strong deck next format, and once again they came away from the ban list unscathed. Not only are they one of the most consistent decks in Yu-Gi-Oh!, topping every major event that I can think of, but the deck is one that's going to excel going first or second with lockdown cards like Kaja Coliseum and Vanity's Emptiness to shut your opponent down from creating field presence while protecting your Yamato. You can pretty much go first or second, knowing that if you choose to go second and take the extra card, you have things like Forbidden Lance to stop those bottomlesses and torrentials from getting your Yamato. I also think that with the confirmed reprint of Bujin Yamato, which is the highest price card in the entire deck, this deck should fall right into range. Lowest estimated price, $100. Number 1, Lightsworn. One of the most popular decks in the OCG has had a huge resurgence in the TCG as well. It's pretty evident right after the release of the Light of the Realm structure deck that Lightsworn was going to be a force to be reckoned with again. Once again, players have combined the Lightsworn engine with one that benefits from Lightsworn's token mechanic of milling, this time using dragons such as the Dragon Rulers, Light Ray Diablos, and Eclipse Wyvern to tie everything together. You end up with an extremely potent deck that can consistently OTK thanks to the best boss monster in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! And one that is also completely immune to spell and trap removal and negation. Lowest estimated price, $79. So let me know what you guys think. Maybe there was some $100 or less decks that I could have built or put on this list that you guys know about that I don't. And yes, I did intentionally leave out H.A.T, all pretty much, virgins, Sylvans, Prophecy, and Madolche, because none of those decks from what I researched can be built for under $100 or less. Usually they have about a $20 or $25 card in the deck, and that takes up just all the money. So, when you get to like the traps, like the breakthrough skills and the D prisons and stuff, you don't have enough money to keep the deck under $100. So thank you guys for watching as always. Subscribing makes life happy.